Good morning. Today we are going to start with a new chapter, our fourth chapter, why classification. Classification, you are hearing it for the first time, isn't it? So now we can see what is the importance or why we are classifying the organisms. Okay, we can see some points regarding that. What's the need of classifying organisms? We can see that. Here you can see why do we classify living things. Okay, and what is the need of classification? So first point is classification allow us to keep track of the 3 to 10 million different living things on earth. So you know that different kinds of animals and plants are living on our earth. So many different plants and animals, we don't know their names. Some of them we know the names, some of them we don't know the names, and some of the plants are having similar characteristics. Likewise, the diversity of plants and animals are present on our earth. So, in order to group them, what we have to do, we have to know its characteristics. We have to know about their different types, names, then their characteristics, and all we have to know in order to classify that. So, this classification will helps us to keep track of the 3 to 10 million different living things on our earth. Then there have been many different ideas about how to classify living things. That is, classification, the systematic grouping of organisms into categories on the basis of evolutionary relationship or physical appearance. Okay, so we are grouping or classifying the organisms on the basis of their evolutionary relationship or that means evolutionary relationship. They have evolved. Their ancestors were another kind of ancestors, maybe another kind of organisms. And they may be so some of the organisms may be evolved from the same ancestor, like that. So their evolutionary relationships or physical appearance. Physical appearance, you all know that if you are looking at an organism, how it look like and their characteristics, all those physical appearance. On the basis of these things, we are classifying the organism. Then the science of classifying is called taxonomy. So the science of classifying organism is called the taxonomy, or the branch of science that deals with the classifying, studying, classifying the organism, grouping the organism is called as the taxonomy. Okay, people have been classifying for nearly about 2000 years. So classification is not a new thing that is happening in our world. And it is people has been started classifying the organism for about 2000 years. Okay, so that's a need of classifying. Why we need to classify? That means in order to know about, in order to know more deeply about the different kinds of plants and animals, and then in order to group the plants and animals having similar characteristics. And all these are the purpose of classification. We can see some more points related to why the need of classifying. We can see now some more points related to the classification. Because you are studying the classification for the first time now. So now you should know it detailed. Why classify? What's the need of classification? So another point is to study the diversity of life. Diversity means different kinds of. So to study the diversity of life, scientists use a classification system to name organisms and group them in a logical manner. So scientists are classifying and grouping those organisms in a logical manner. Then two features of biological classification systems. There are two features for the biological classification system. That is, first one is that each organism has a universally accepted name. So if an organism, if you are telling about or description of an organism or the name of an organism in any part of the world, if it is having if that organism is having a scientific name, that scientific name will be known in all part of the world, and that organism will be known in its scientific name. So there won't be any confusion if that organism is having any locally, if they are known in different names. What happen if you are going to another area, they won't be able to identify that organism. That difficulty can be solved by this method. That is, in this grouping or in this classification, each and every organism will be having a universally accepted scientific name will be having. Then the next point is organisms are grouped on shared biologically important traits. Traits means characters. So organisms are coming in the same group will be showing the same characteristics. Okay, there will be having the physical appearance will be same. All the organism in coming under a group in the same group will be having the same characteristics. Then taxonomy. Taxonomy is the science of naming and classifying organisms. Okay, so what is taxonomy? Taxonomy is the science of naming and classifying organisms. Is it clear for you? So that's about the classification. Now we can see about the importance of classification. What's the need of classification? So what is the importance? How it is helpful for us? How this classification is helpful for us? That we can see now what is the importance of classification. The importance of classification is we have told that it will help us to find out the diversity of organisms, and it will help us to study about the different kinds of organisms. It will help us to know about the diverse organisms present in our earth. Yeah, here it comes. So the importance of classification. It makes the study of wide variety of organisms easy and in systematic manner. So it helps us to study a wide variety of organisms very easily and in a systematic order we can study. Then it helps us to understand how the different organisms have evolved with the time. So it will helps us to understand how the different organisms evolved with the time. Then next point is it helps to understand the relationships between different groups of organisms. So this classification will help us to understand the relationship between different groups of organisms. Then it forms a base for the study of other biological sciences like biogeography, one of the branches biogeography, and another such branches also. This study of classification will give more information about the different kinds of organisms. It's clear for you about the importance of classification. Importance of classification, if we are classifying, it will help us to study about the different kinds of organisms very easily in a systematic order. It will be having a systematic order, and so it helps us to study more detail about an organism. Next, we can next one is the next topic is the Linnaeus classification system. Carl Linnaeus is the scientist who proposed this name taxonomy and naming system. We can see what is the Linnaeus system, Linnaeus naming system. We can see it now what it is. Okay. So here you can see Linnaeus classification system. The first individual to propose an orderly system for classifying the variety of organisms found on our planet was Linnaeus in 1753. Okay, so Linnaeus is the first individual who proposed an orderly system for classifying the variety of organisms found on our planet, and it was in the year 1753. Then, in his system of classification, the finest unit in the organization of life is the species. What is species, and the order you will study in the next topic. So in his system of classification, the finest unit in the organization of life is the species. In the Linnaeus classification system, all organisms are placed in a ranked hierarchy, that is in a ranked order. His system was one of the small groups building into large ones. So his system was one of the small groups that build into a larger ones. Okay, this is about the Linnaeus classification system. Next step, we can see about the valuable contributions in the history of taxonomy. So many scientists made their valuable contributions in the history of taxonomy. Taxonomy, I have already told you what do you mean by taxonomy. Taxonomy is the naming system, that is the naming, classifying an organism, naming an organism. And here you can see the different scientists, name of different scientists who done their valuable contribution to the taxonomy. First one is the Aristotle, his place is Greece. Aristotle, the father of biology. So who is the father of biology? Aristotle. He classified organisms as those with the red blood cells and those without red blood cells. Who is known as the father of biology? Aristotle is known as the father of biology. What was his work? He classified the organisms, those with the red blood cells and those without red blood cells. And next one is the Theophrastus. Theophrastus, he is also from Greece. He is the father of botany. And so biology has two divisions, that is botany and zoology. Studying about the plants comes under botany, and studying about the animals comes under the zoology. So the father of botany is Theophrastus. He classified plants into annuals, biennials, and perennials. So Theophrastus, he is known as the father of botany. He classified the plants into annuals, biennials, and perennials. Okay, then Charagan. Charagan is from India. He is known as the father of Ayurveda. You all know that the Ayurveda is involved in our country. So the Charagan is the father of Ayurveda. He wrote the treatise Charaka Samhita by including in it around 200 plants and animals. Okay, so the treatise name of the book of Charagan is Charaka Samhita, and he is known as the father of Ayurveda. He is from India itself. Then next scientist is the John Gray. He is from England. He recorded more than 18,000 plants in his book Historia Generalicis Plantarum. So Historia Generalicis Plantarum is the name of the book of John Gray. Then he recorded in that more than 18,000 plants is recorded in his book. And he is the person who used the term species for the first time. So if a question comes mostly for your examination, this is one of the questions used to ask. Name the scientist who used the term species for the first time. Then you have to write John Gray. The name of this scientist and their work are very important. You have to study it. Then the next scientist is Carl Linnaeus. Carl Linnaeus is the father of modern taxonomy, and we have already discussed about Linnaeus. So Carl Linnaeus is from Sweden. He is the father of modern taxonomy. He suggested the taxonomic hierarchy, then proposed binomial nomenclature. The binomial nomenclature means the scientific way of naming the organism is called as the binomial nomenclature. That I have told you little about that. That is, an organism will be known in different names in different areas. So in order to avoid that confusion, and he proposed the binomial nomenclature. That is the scientific, giving the organism a scientific name. And that organism will be known in that scientific name worldwide. So if we are telling about the name of scientific name of a organism in any part of the world, all the people can understand that organism. Then the scientific naming method for organisms. Binomial nomenclature is the scientific naming method for organism, and it is proposed by the Carl Linnaeus. I think it's clear for you about the scientists. It's clear for you about the history of different contributions done by our different scientists. Now we can see about the Linnaeus hierarchy and the hierarchy of organisms, how Linnaeus grouped the organism in different levels. So we can see that now how it is. So here you can see the basic, the lowest or the basic of this classification is species. Okay, and so we can start from the species. It is from the higher part, it is given as the arrow to down. So the basic is the smallest level of classification is the species. Okay, so the species is the group of organisms that are having the common characteristics, and the similar species join together to form the genus. Okay, and the genus, similar genus constitute the family, and similar families join together to form the various order, and various orders join together to form the class, and various classes, related classes join together to form the phylum, and the phylum or the phyla constitute the kingdom. Okay, so the you have to study this level of classification. From the base, it is the base is the species, genus, family, order, class, phylum, kingdom. This is for the animals, and in the plants, small changes are there in this order that I will tell you. Okay, then next about the next topic is about the classification of before that classification of plants, we can see the classification of cat, and how this order, class, level, like that, how it is. We can see the level of classification of cat. Kingdom. When we are taking the kingdom Animalia, kingdom Animalia comes all the animals is coming under the kingdom Animalia. Okay, so it is the largest level, and it is the final largest level kingdom, and the classification. The kingdom, that Animalia kingdom comes all the animals. You can see all the animals are coming in that. Then from that we are making a classification, grouping. That is phylum Chordata. Phylum Chordata includes vertebrates only. Vertebrates means നട്ടലുള്ള ജീവികളെ മാത്രമായിട്ട് നമ്മൾ ഗ്രൂപ്പ് ചെയ്യണം അവിടെ. So and that is the phylum Chordata. Phylum Chordata, you can see. So from that all animals giving, from that only those who are having vertebrates, only those who are vertebrates we have chosen. So butterfly, housefly, they are not having a spinal cord, or that's why they are not under this, coming under this group Chordata. Only those organisms having spinal cord comes under the phylum Chordata. Then from that we are again grouping class Mammalia. Those organisms that can give birth, those vertebrates that can give birth to young ones, and they can feed them with milk. That is at that time, from that grouping which has gone, bird has gone. How bird is reproducing? It is laying the egg. അപ്പോൾ കുഞ്ഞുങ്ങളെ പ്രസവിക്കാനും പാല് കൊടുക്കാനുമുള്ള കഴിവുള്ള നട്ടലുള്ള ജീവികളാണ് മമ്മേലിയ, ക്ലാസ് മമ്മേലിയ. That include the vertebrates that can feed their young ones with the milk. Okay, then again classifying. That is order. And so it's carnivora. Carnivorous animals we have studied in your earlier classes about herbivores, carnivores, and omnivores. Herbivores means those animals that are depending on plants only. Carnivores means flesh-eating animals, and omnivores means both flesh and plants they will be eating. So here we are classifying only the carnivorous animals. Leopard, bear, the lion, all those comes under the carnivorous animals. They are flesh-eating animals. So again specified. Then again we are coming to the next level, that is family, Felidae. When we are taking the family Felidae, cat, leopard, lion only comes under that. Bear is eliminated from it. Is it clear for you? So the Felidae, those with a withdrawable claws, along with the features of the order Carnivora. കാർണിവോറയുടെ ഫീച്ചേഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. പിന്നെ വിഡ്രോവബിൾ ആയിട്ടുള്ള ക്ലോസ് ഉള്ള ഓർഗാനിസംസ് ആണ് comes under the family Felidae. Then again we are classifying genus Felis. Genus Felis, when we are taking the genus Felis, shows the features of family Felidae. Small is the body, no roaring sound. Genus Felis comes the cat. Different kinds of cat are the different kinds of cat comes under the genus Felis. They don't have a roaring sound. Lion, leopard, tiger, all those are having roaring sound. So those organisms without a roaring sound and having a small body comes under the Felidae. So lion and tiger all are eliminated from that genus. Then finally, species, a particular organism, that is domesticus, and our pet cat. So along with the features of the genus, Felis shows the unique features of the domestic cat. So the domestic cat is the domesticus. So while we are writing a scientific name, we have to write the genus name first, then the species name. Family, order, class, all those things we won't write. While writing a scientific name, two portions of the scientific name is that is the genus and species. So the scientific name of our domestic cat is Felis domesticus. Is it clear for you? So in this world, wherever you go, you tell the name Felis domesticus, and all of them can understand it is a cat. It is our domestic cat. Is it clear for you? So this is how the classification from kingdom to species. Is it clear for you about the classification of the cat? Okay, so the scientific name, you have to study the scientific name of different organisms, so that is given in your textbook. So first one you have studied, and you have to know this level of classification of these organisms. And now we have studied about the level of classification of cat, and the name of the scientific name of the cat is Felis domesticus. In Felis domesticus, Felis is the genus name and domesticus is the species name. So a scientific name consists of two parts, that is genus name and species name. Genus name we are writing in the first step, and the species name is the second part of the name. Is it clear for you? Then we are going to study about the classification of plants. Okay, here we can see the classification of plants. Here two examples of classification of plants is given. Classification of coconut and mango tree is given here. Kingdom Plantae, that means in kingdom Plantae all the plants is included. Phylum Angiospermophyta. So this is a new name you are studying, so you should write and study the spelling of it. Angiospermophyta. Okay. You can split that word and can pronounce that is angio, A-N-G-I-O, angio, S-P-E-R-M-O, spermo, P-H-Y-T-S, phyta. So angiospermophyta is the phylum name of coconut. Class Monocotyledone. So class of the coconut is Monocotyledone. Then series Calycinae. Series. So here you can see the difference in animals. Instead of after the class what we have studied order, but in the case of plants you have to write series. In the case of plants you have to write in the levels of classification. Instead of order you have to write series. So series Calycinae. Then family Ericaceae. Genus Cocos. Species Nucifera. So what is the scientific name of coconut? Genus and species name constitute the scientific name. So what is the genus name here? Cocos. Species name Nucifera. So Cocos nucifera is the scientific name of coconut. So kingdom Plantae, phylum Angiospermophyta, class Monocotyledone, then series Calycinae, family Ericaceae, then genus Cocos and species Nucifera. So scientific name of coconut is Cocos nucifera. Then next is the scientific name of mango tree. The same kingdom Plantae. All the plants comes under the kingdom Plantae. Phylum Angiospermophyta. Class Dicotyledonate. So if you are taking the seed of a mango tree, if you are opening it, you can see that two flaps, two portion it is having, and that's why it is known as two cotyledon. That's why dicotyledonate. Then in the case of coconut, if you are breaking the shell of the coconut, you can see in the case of if we are breaking, as we are breaking it into two pieces, it is becoming two pieces. Originally or normally inside the coconut shell, the cotyledon inside it is a single one. That's why. And in the case of Ericaceae, Aricanut, that also the cotyledon is single one. Okay, so that is monocotyledon. If the cotyledon is present in two, it is called as dicotyledon. So in the case of mango tree, class comes as dicotyledon. Then seed is Sapindales. Then family Anacardiaceae, genus Mangifera, species Indica. So the scientific name of mango tree is Mangifera indica. I think it's clear for you. Then in the case of plants, instead of order, we have to write a series. Okay, so we have studied three scientific names of three organisms. That is, first one is the cat. The Felis domesticus is the scientific name of cat. Then the scientific name of coconut is Cocos nucifera. Scientific name of mango tree is Mangifera indica. Okay, so keep in mind scientific name consists of two parts, genus part and species part. First we write the genus part, then we write the species part. I think it's clear for you. If you are having any doubt regarding this chapter, we can clear through the answer. Okay, thanks.